Welcome, my friends, onto this big boat today. We this ya. Ate kwa kale diras la yo. Welcome, my friends, to the land of the Duwamish. We this ya they are long, but ate Duwas. Welcome, my friends. We this ya.
እንግዶቻችን ቀበቶ ካላችሁ ቀበቷችሁ፣ ቀበቶ ከሌላችሁ ደግሞ አንጀታችሁን ሰሩ።
Tour because this is where Seattle history changed forever. On July 17, 1897,
ካፕቴኑ ይሄ ነው።
around here where the Great Seattle Wheel is now.
ዘዋሪ
Watch a boat that just arrived from Alaska. Why? It was unloading Twin Town at the time. Thousands of Seattleites packed their bags and headed north. The Klondike Gold Rush was on. If you wanted to travel through Canada to get to the Klondike, the Canadian government required you to have plenty of food, warm clothes, and supplies. Well, Seattle business people smelled an opportunity. They even hired a marketing specialist to tell the worries we're in Seattle. It worked. Over 100,000 people from all over the world came straight to Seattle for provisions before heading north to seek fortune. Did the miners get rich? Not many, but Seattle. The gold rush turned Seattle from a small logging town to a major city almost overnight. And Seattle never looked back. By the way, Seattle has a new gold rush going on right now. We'll talk about that later. That sound means it's time for a fun fact. One of the gold miners was a 17-year-old boy from Sweden. He didn't speak English and he arrived in Seattle broke. He did well in the gold fields and returned to Seattle with $13,000. What did he do with his money? He opened a shoe store. His name was John W. Nordstrom. The flagship Nordstrom store is still in downtown Seattle.
የኖርድስቶን ታሪክ ነው።
ወደፊት ጀምር
ስፔስ ኔሮ
This is a view of the Seattle skyline you can only get from the water. Now, one building may stand out a bit. Do you see the tall, black, shiny building? That's Columbia Center, the tallest building in the state of Washington, at 76 stories, 937 feet tall, and it was built in 1985. Here's a Salish Sea Tours travel tip. The Columbia Center observation deck is on the 73rd floor. If you have a fear of heights, it's the perfect place to go to get terrified. You'll be 902 feet over downtown, and on a clear day, you can see for 100 miles. Now back on land, you'll see a short, older white building with a pyramid-shaped top. That's Smith Tower. It's only 38 stories, but from 1914 to 1938, it was the tallest building west of the Mississippi River. In fact, it was the tallest building in Seattle until the Space Needle was built in 1962. Fun fact, Smith Tower was named after its original owner, Lyman Smith. He's located in the heart of historic Pioneer Square, the original downtown Seattle. It was a lot like old western towns in the movies, you know, wooden buildings, wood sidewalks, even those water pipes were made of wood. On June 6, 1889, the entire downtown of Seattle was burnt to the ground, everything. So the city decided to rebuild the new downtown with brick and stone in the Romanesque Revival style. To this day, it's one of the largest collections of Romanesque Revival architecture in the country. And it was all finished just in time to sell food and supplies to the gold miners. Fun fact, the term Skid Row started in Pioneer Square. Loggers cut trees on the hilltop and street to a lumber mill. Not a great place to hang out. In time, other cities used the term to describe an undesirable part of town. If you ever dreamed of ending up on Skid Row, just go to Yesel Avenue in Pioneer Square, and your dream will come true. Now you see two stadiums side by side. The stadium on the left with the arches on the roof is Lumen Field, home of the 2014 Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. We don't want to mention the name of the team we beat, but it rhymes with Denver Broncos. The Seahawks made it to the Super Bowl the following year, too. And we don't want to talk about it. A nearby jet engine is 140 decibels. And we have an NHL hockey team called the Seattle Kraken. They've already made the playoffs and will no doubt bring the Stanley Cup back to Seattle for the first time since 1917. In a few minutes, we'll show you where they play.
The stretch. And the 0-1 pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez. One on the line. Going to wave him in. Will be in late
And to the right of Lumen Field is T-Mobile Park, home of the Seattle Mariners. Now, if you're a baseball fan, it's a great place to watch a game. They serve the usual ballpark food like hot dogs and pizza, but since it's Seattle, they also serve sushi, teriyaki, crepes, seafood, and even health food. Nothing washes down health food better than a cold beer. The stadium has an HD video display scoreboard that spans over 11,000 square feet. It's the second largest in Major League Baseball. And it has a retractable roof in case it rains. And here's the deal. Seattleites do not like it when they close the roof for rain. We laugh at rain. Fun fact. It rains a lot in Seattle, right?
Yep.
Actually, it doesn't rain a lot. It
Come on,
rains
man.
Often. Average yearly rainfall is only about 37 inches. That's less than Atlanta, Houston, New York, or Miami. But we do get about 152 days a year with some drizzle or light rain. And we don't use umbrellas. People with umbrellas here are called visitors. On the left is the U.S. Coast Guard's Polar Fleet. Icebreakers are deployed from Seattle for supply missions north to Alaska and south to Antarctica. Each winter, the Polar Star makes an 11,000-mile trip to McMurdo Station, the research base of the nation's science program. The mission is called Operation Deep Freeze. The ship cuts a channel through the ice, which allows supply vessels to deliver cargo and fuel to the American base. The ship can cut through up to 21 feet of ice.
Wow.
Now, up ahead and a little on the left is a tall brick tower. At the top of the tower is a clock, and above the clock is a green and white mermaid staring at us. That's the worldwide headquarters of Starbucks Coffee. In 1971, three college friends from Seattle had a crazy idea. They wanted to open a coffee shop that sold a decent cup of coffee. When coming up with a name for the shop, one guy thought about a character in his favorite book, Moby Dick. That character's name? Starbucks. Today there are 1,256 Starbucks locations worldwide, and 133 Starbucks in Seattle alone. Fun fact, can you guess which city in the world has the most Starbucks? The answer? Seoul, South Korea, 280. And Starbucks forever changed the way people order coffee.
Can I get a tall green tea, vanilla bean frappuccino with 2 scoops of fresh fruit and instant at the top and bottom if possible?
Fun fact, most people think the Starbucks logo is a mermaid, but technically, she's a siren. The Starbucks siren has 2 tails and has been known to sing at sailors at sea and chuckle in regular ships. special cranes for loading and unloading container ships. Seattle is the fourth largest port in the U.S. for two reasons. One, it's the closest major U.S. port to Asia.
The vehicle used for time immemorial was the canoe. It was like the family wagon of its day. Salish canoe carving and artwork is alive and well. I do my part by carving canoes, weaving baskets, using the techniques and designs from our ancestors. They are the best teachers. One of the great artists I want to mention today was the man who designed the logo for the Seattle Seahawks, Marvin Oliver. I'm proud to say I knew him and his family well. I'm a proud member of the Salish Sea Nations and a proud Seattleite. In fact, it was my idea to call it Salish Sea Tour. Welcome to the Salish Sea, and go Hawks!
As the tour continues, keep your eyes on the water. If we're very lucky, we may see some sea life. And if so, the captain will pause the tour so you can take photos and videos. The Salish Sea is home to sea lions, harbor seals, harbor porpoise, gray whales, humpbacks, and of course, orca, also known as the killer whale. These apex predators feed on everything from herring to great white sharks. They communicate with their own unique vocalizations and calls. It's like each prod has their own accent. Whales in the area are able to hold their breath for up to 10 minutes. They can swim over 33 miles per hour and can cover 100 miles in a day hunting and socializing. We'll let you know if we spot any of these magnificent animals who make the Salish Sea their home. Fun fact, the term killer whale is actually not accurate. The orca is actually an oceanic dolphin. Right now, we're going to take a break from the narration. You're welcome to take selfies and group shots. Go ahead, make weird faces. And refreshments are available. In a few minutes, we'll share some more interesting stories about this amazing Emerald City. In the meantime, enjoy the view.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Fun fact, Elliott Bay is so deep that you could place the Space Needle in the middle and only about 1 foot of the top of the spire would stick out of the water.
አየዋለ ይሄን ቦታ ነው እኮ የሚለው የዚህ ቦታ ጥልቀት ስፔስ ኒድልን አስምጦ ሌላኛዊቱ ብቻ ናት የምትቀረው አሁን ያለንበት የውሃ ልክ ማለት ያ
After a stretch of bad weather, the local tribespeople recommended settling the land
ኤሊት ቤ ነው የሚባለው
on the right side of the vessel, since it provided better protection. And that's why downtown Seattle is located where it is. And their fight for the restoration of treaty rights and sovereignty. Salish Sea Tours travel team. Visit the Duwamish Longhouse and Cultural Center to learn more about Seattle's first peoples. By the way, if it weren't for the help provided by the local tribes to the original non-tribal settlers, there may not be a Seattle here today. The settlers landed here on Alki Point, the land just to the left of the vessel, on September 12th, and quickly realized they weren't well prepared for the northwest fall weather. The chief of the local Duwamish and Suquamish tribes befriended and helped the settlers. The chief of the tribe was named Sealsh. We think the exact pronunciation has been lost to history. In time, however, it changed to Seattle.
My name is Workman. I am of the Duwamish tribe. Alturituha, a long time ago. But day apara te Duwamish, on this ancient land of the Duwamish. Wakahatsatsitata, of many people. Gwigwihadak. This word, it means invite. We means invite, and so when we say gwigwi, it means we invite many people. But today, we recognize that people from all around the world live in Seattle, and so we invite everybody. So we say today, gwigwihadak, Ateya lo klopadata. as we welcome all people all around the world onto this ancient land of the Duwamish. Wigwigida. Wigwigida. Wigwigida.
Fun fact. In an early example of paying for naming rights, the city paid Chief Seattle a generous amount every year for the use of his name until his death in 1866. It was an act of respect and affection.
My name is Harvey Smoon from the Quinault tribe. If you can imagine just sitting in your own living room looking out over the bay and you see for the first time a huge ship or a canoe with masts as tall as the mighty cedars, we ran and hid. And when the men emerged from the ship, they had upside down faces. They had more hair on their face than they had on top of their head. So their faces looked like they were upside down. Languages were all different. All from Japanese, Chinese, Swedish, Norwegians. All had languages of their own. There was
To Ammon's Amazon with $10,000 in his pocket. He and his very small staff sat at desks made from doors on top of sawhorses. 3 years later, the company went public. In 2015, Amazon introduced us all to the personal assistant named Alexa.
Hi everyone.
Is it high-tech? Coffee? Airplanes? What about music?
$35.
Jimi Hendrix was in Seattle on November 27, 1942, and Costco gave him one in 1970. Rolling Stone magazine named Hendrix the greatest guitarist of all time. Shuttles, ride shares, and more. If you travel to come here to Seattle, or traveled anywhere in the world for that matter, there's a good chance you did business with the building on the left. That's the headquarters of the Expedia Travel Group, which includes Expedia, Hotels.com, Travelocity, Hotwire, Orbitz, Cheap Tickets, Expedia Cruises, Trivago, and others. They recently finished a new 40-acre campus and an 850,000 square foot headquarters. That's a busy building. Estimated revenue for the Expedia Travel Group in 2024 was $13.7 billion. In case you're curious, the word Expedia is derived from a combination of exploration and speed. Okay, here's another great view of downtown Seattle. So we're going to take a quick break from the narration so you can take some more photos from a different view of the Emerald. Interesting folk that gave the city, well, let's say character. In 1907, 10 years after the Klondike Gold Rush, a 19-year-old Seattle boy named James Casey borrowed $100 from a friend. Why? He wanted to start a small company that delivered messages and packages by foot and bicycle. His office was in the basement of a saloon in Pioneer Square. He called his company the American Messenger Service. Well, within 6 years, Casey opened a second office in Seattle and he bought a Model T Ford to help with the deliveries. After 12 years in business, Casey decided to expand outside Seattle for the first time, and he changed the name of his business to United Parcel Service. UPS is now the largest courier company in the world by revenue. In 2020, estimated to be around $85 billion.
$85 billion?
543,000 employees worldwide. Fun fact, we've all seen UPS trucks everywhere, but here's something you'll rarely see. UPS trucks turning left. A computer maps the route for drivers to avoid left turns. Left turns waste time, money, and increase emissions.
Atlanta, Georgia.